Hi everyone, I am Bhikshamaya Chalakami, Assistant Professor of Physics from Government Degree College Karum in Nalgonda. In this video, I am going to explain the relation between linear kinematic relations and angular kinematic relations. Okay, moment of inertia and angular momentum. The definitions and equations for these quantities. See one by one. Here, here we are considering a frame of reference, XY frame of reference, and we are considering one object. Okay, it is the object. On object, we are identifying one point P, and here, right? So one point P, and this object is rotating about an axis which is perpendicular to XY plane and going through the point O, that is origin. Okay, so about this axis which is perpendicular to XY and which is perpendicular to the display and passing through O, about this axis the point or the total body is rotating with uniform angular velocity omega. So the trace of the particle P is in this path. So it is shown with dashed lines. Okay. And its angle from the reference axis X is, so it is rotating the counterclockwise direction is shown with the arrow here. So then the angle made by the radius vector with the x-axis is theta. Okay, so it is rotating in this counterclockwise direction. Therefore, it is the angle theta. The theta is measured in counterclockwise direction. And this blue line is the radius vector. That means a vector joining the origin and the point, considered point. Okay, it is r bar, that is position vector. So it is a path of the particle P, which is in circular shape. Okay, so from here to here, it is the trace of the particle P traveled in delta t time. In small time, delta t time or dt time, it has traversed from this point to this point. It is the path length or arc length. Arc length. So it is the angle theta. Okay. From this, we are going to establish a relation between linear physical quantities and angular physical quantities. So at the first step, we are writing according the pure mathematical formula, according to the mathematics. Okay, the it is one. So it is just like the projectile motion. Sorry, uh, from the geometrical relation we are writing here. We see it now. So the length of the arc is equal to radius vector into angle subtended by the radius vector. So that is theta. S is equal to r theta. We are writing it from mathematical relations, pure geometrical relation. Now here the theta is expressed in radians. Now we are differentiating on both sides with respect to the time. That is ds by dt is equal to r into d theta by dt. So here r is not variable. That means it is rotating about one axis, and the particle traverses in circular path. The radius vector is constant. So therefore, that is not differentiated with respect to time. So it is a differential equation. Now d theta by dt is angular velocity. Already we have studied in the before class the time rate of change of angular displacement is angular velocity. When delta t tends to 0, when delta t tends to 0, it is delta theta by delta t is equal to d theta by dt, that is omega, angular velocity. Now v is equal to, it is the s is the displacement or linear path length. So therefore ds by dt ds by dt is equal to v velocity, v is equal to r omega. So it is the relation, v is the linear relation, sorry, v is the linear velocity and omega is the angular velocity. So it is the relation between the linear velocity and angular velocity. It is the established relation between the two types of physical quantities. V is equal to r omega. Now again we are differentiating the above equation with respect to time on both sides. That is dv by dt is equal to r into d omega by dt. So we know that dv by dt is acceleration, linear acceleration. So that is acceleration is equal to r into alpha. So this alpha is called angular acceleration. Okay. So a suffix capital T, that means it is the tangential acceleration. Here we are seeing the circular path and it is the path of point P. So this one, so we have to draw a tangent at this point. So we get in this direction. So we get the tangent just like this. Okay. So it is the tangent. So tangent to this. So obviously it is a theta. So at, it is a and the suffix t, it is at. Okay. Just like this. It is a tangential component of acceleration. So that is r alpha. Now here we are seeing right, right. So okay, right. Now the force directed or away from the center of force is always radial. That means in case of center of force or central forces, the force is directed from a center or away from the center of force. So that force is always radial. Okay, that force is called central force. The central force always acts towards a point or away from a point along the radius vector or the position vector. So this force is radial. So that means, so either, okay, here we are seeing right. So it is the tangential component we have seen just before. So the radial component is, the radial force is either along the radius vector by extending just like this or towards the point O in this direction, away from O or towards O. So anyway, the force direction is along the radius vector r, whether it is parallel to r or opposite to r. Okay, that one. That is the radial force. And that force is either centripetal force or centrifugal force. Okay, the centripetal or centrifugal forces, that force equation is given by mv square by r, mv square by r. So if it is radial force, it is radial force, actually we are writing it as ma. Actually force is equal to ma, and since it is radial we are writing the r as suffix to the acceleration, m into ar. So that is equal to mv square by r. So by comparing these two, uh, by comparing the two terms on both sides of equation, we get so this one. So AR is equal to so V square by R. AR is equal to V square by R. This is a radial acceleration. So in case of rotational motion, it is clear that it possesses a particle possess two components of acceleration. So one is tangential component and another one is radial component. So at a particular point P, the tangential component direction is along the tangent to the circular path, and the radial component direction is so perpendicular to the circular path at that point. So are the perpendicular to the tangent drawn at point P. So perpendicular, and it is towards the center or away from the center also. Okay. Totally in radius, it is in the direction of radius vector. Therefore, we are calling it as radial. We see the next one, moment of inertia. Moment of inertia. Here we are considering about one axis the object rotates. So here I am considering a rectangular slab. So the rectangular slab rotates about this point. We see here. So we are seeing here this one. So we can take any irregular object also, but I have taken this to have a feeling how it rotates. Okay, if we take one rectangular object, so about the axis of rotation, it is rotating. Okay, so it is the axis of rotation. About this object is rotating. So now we can see once more. So just like this. So just like this. So again, if we identify one particle P at a distance r1 from the axis of rotation, so a particle of mass m1, then we write the corresponding equations. So before that, it is the rigid body, it is a particle identified, and another one, it is the axis of rotation. Okay, so since the body is rigid, and so that means the particles, the distance between all particles is fixed. Okay, so in linear transformation, the displacements of all particles is same. In or in rotational motion, so all the particles traverses circular paths, and their centers exist on a line. That line is axis of rotation. So that means all the particles move with same angular velocity in case of rigid body. So the angular velocity is same for every particle of the rigid body. So therefore that angular velocity is omega. It is common to every particle. Now the kinetic energy of a particle, that is of m1 v1 square. So of we are writing the kinetic energy for this particular particle, that is of m1 v1 square. So we know the relation between v and omega in earlier equation. So v1 square is equal to r1 square omega square. So that's what. So half m1 v1 square is equal to half m1 r1 square omega square. So it is for one particle only. So if we write the kinetic energy of a rotating body, that means the kinetic energy of all the particles. It is the sum. We are adding the kinetic energies of all particles, that gives the kinetic energy of the whole body, that is rotating body. So m1 r1 square omega square plus half m2 r2 square omega square plus half m3 r3 square omega square, and so on. Here if we observe, omega is common since all the particles possess same angular velocity. So by writing, and half is also common, and half omega square as common. So we are getting these terms, m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus m3 r3 square and so on. So if we generalize it, it is the summation I is equal to 1 to n, or I is equal to 1 to infinite m1 r1 square. How many particles exist? We can run the n for those number of particles. Summation mi ri square. Actually, it should be I only. Here we are seeing 1. It is actually I. So summation mi ri square. So that is equal to this summation mi ri square is called moment of inertia. That is represented with the letter capital I. Therefore, kinetic energy is equal to half I omega square. So if we see here, half I omega square, right? So half I omega square, it should be I only. So similarly here also it is I, right? Now we are seeing it. So I is equal to summation mi ri square. It is for a system of discrete body system. When there are n number of particles, a discrete mass system, it is the equation for moment of inertia. So in case of continuous body system, so I is written as integration dm r square. That is the moment of inertia of continuous mass distribution. So in that case, if it is continuous mass distribution, so we consider dm, a small element of mass at a distance r, small r, from the axis of rotation. In that case, the expression I is equal to dm r square and integration. So in order to calculate the moment of inertia of the total body, we integrate such that we get the total mass. The same principle is applicable to the entire mass. So therefore, so here we are seeing. So it is the angular momentum, moment of inertia equation for continuous body system, mass distribution, and it is for discrete mass distribution. Now we see, okay, so now we see the definition of moment of inertia also. If a particular object is rotating with unit angular velocity, if we write omega is equal to 1, so kinetic energy is equal to I by 2, and I is equal to 2 times kinetic energy. So in that way, we can define the moment of inertia as the whenever the particle is rotating with unit angular velocity, the moment of inertia is equal to the twice the kinetic energy of that particle, the rotational kinetic energy of that particle. Okay, that one. Now we see the angular momentum equation. The angular momentum. The angular momentum is defined as the sum of moments of linear momentum of all particles about axis of rotation is called the angular momentum about that axis. Okay, so it is simply the sum of moments of linear momentum of all particles around the axis of rotation. That is the angular momentum. Here we are considering an object shown in the brown color. It is one object. This object is rotating about this vertical axis here. So then, so we are expressing the linear momentum. So here we are identifying one particle at this point of mass m1, which is located at a distance r1 from the axis of rotation, and this r1 is perpendicular to the axis of rotation. Here I have shown. If it is the case, so this is the tangential acceleration component. Okay, so sorry, it is velocity component. So V is equal to R omega. V is equal to R omega, which is perpendicular so to this position vector R1. Okay, so just like this. So now the mass, linear momentum is equal to mass into velocity. Linear momentum is equal to mass into a simple product to velocity. So P is equal to m1 into r1 omega. The linear momentum of a particular of a particle of mass m1 is p is equal to m1 r1 omega. Now the is momentum is angular momentum, that is equal to r cross p. So this moment of momentum is defined as r cross p. So here I have shown with bigger bold letters. These are vectors. Now r bar cross m v bar. In linear momentum, m is the scalar, v is the vector, r cross v. So in that way, totally we get, so they are r and v are in v bar are in perpendicular direction. Therefore, we get the maximum thing, the maximum quantity. From that, it is mvr. So it is corresponding to one particle. So therefore, the first particle m1 v1 r1. So we know that v1 is equal to r1 omega, omega only, not omega 1. So m1 v1 r1, by writing v1 is equal to r1 omega, we are getting m1 r1 square omega. Okay, so this one. So this is for only one particle, the momentum of one particle. So similarly, we have to write the moments of momentum of all particles, and we have to sum all those terms. Okay, so by writing that, we get the angular momentum of the rigid body about that axis of rotation. So here we are getting, so similar thing, m1 r1 square omega plus m2 r2 square omega plus m3 r3 square omega and so on. So if we generalize it, so angular momentum L bar is equal to summation I mi ri square omega. So but before slide, we have studied that summation mi square is equal to I, that is moment of inertia of the body about a particular axis of rotation. So then L is equal to omega into I. So that is equal to L is equal to I omega. So it is the equation for angular momentum of a rigid body, rotating rigid body. Okay, so that is the mathematical equation. L is equal to I omega. So in analogy, so if we see, the linear momentum is equal to mass into velocity. So similarly, the velocity is replaced, linear velocity is replaced by angular velocity, and mass is replaced by moment of inertia. So mass is the inertial quantity for linear motion. Similarly, the I is the inertial quantity for rotational motion. That means mass opposes the state of the object in linear motion. So that means if a body is uniformly moving, the mass tries to stop the object, or if the mass is at stable and it tries to uh, keep it stable only when we try to move it. Okay, so just like that. So similarly, the angular momentum, the moment of inertia is also rotational inertia. That means, so that quantity opposes the rotational motion, whether increasing acceleration or decreasing acceleration. In the case of uh, the mass also, so the mass either tries to keep the object stable or to keep the object in uniform velocity. So if the object is at stable initially, so the mass tries to keep the object unstable when we try to move. So similarly, if a mass is initially moving with uniform velocity, if we try to accelerate or decelerate the object and it tries the mass, the inertial quantity is tries to keep the object uniform. If we try to increase, the mass tries to decrease. If we try to decelerate, the mass try to accelerate such that it attains uniform velocity. That is the property of mass in case of linear motion, the similar property in case of uh, moment of inertia. Okay, so that's one. So in this video we have learned what is so what is the relation between linear kinematics and angular kinematics. So if we see S is a linear displacement and theta is the angular displacement, that is those two quantities are related with this equation S is equal to r theta. Now, so linear velocity v is related with angular velocity omega by this equation v is equal to r omega. So by accelerating that we get this. The tangential acceleration is equal to r into alpha, angular acceleration. So similarly, the radial acceleration a is equal to v square by r, so which is in the radial direction. So in case of moment of inertia also, it is the sum of the mass of the particles and the radius, that means their distance from the axis of rotation. Okay, the mass of the particles, the moment of inertia is defined as the sum of products of individual particles. Okay, the sum of products of individual particle, and the product term contains the mass of the particle and square of its distance from the axis of rotation, that is I is equal to summation mi ri square. In case of continuous mass distribution, I is equal to integration r square dm. So that one is the moment of inertia. So moment of inertia. Now angular momentum L is equal to I omega. Okay. So here I am stopping. Thank you for watching this video.